how did you navigate through those pressuring times and those lonely moments as well?
Well, those first few years, let's be clear, my first 2 years on that track and field team, I was doing absolutely horrible.
Mm.
And the reason why I knew I was doing absolutely horrible is because I had a coach that kept it real. He told me, he said one day, he said, Tony, you're doing absolutely horrible. Like he straight up told me, let me know that I wasn't
I like
doing
that. I
great.
can live with that. Mm-hmm.
In this day and age, I'm a firm believer that what we don't need another pat on the back. We need somebody to tell us the truth,
Mm.
to let us know how we are performing. That just doesn't seem to be happening nowadays. People get defensive, they get offended. But my coach, after 2 years of being on this team, told me the truth, said, you're not doing that great. But he did something in that moment, and that has really affected the life that I live today. He pointed out to two gentlemen on the track that day.
Yeah.
One was both were all Americans. One went on to compete in the Olympics, and one went on to compete in multiple world championships. But this is back in Kalamazoo, Michigan, before that type of success.
Yeah.
And he pointed to them and he said, you know, in the 2 years that you've been on this team and the 2 years that you've been struggling, not once have I seen you spend any time with them,
Mm.
pointing to those All Americans. He
Mm.
said, instead, you're hanging out with those guys. And he pointed over to the high jump mat. You know, the high jump mats, that's the club.
Hey, we chilling. He laid
Chilling,
back. We waiting last minute till we got a jog.
laying back, having a good time. Not bad people,
Not at all.
still great athletes, but not all Americans. And in that moment, Coach Shaw introduced me to something like this concept of allies and thieves.
Mm.
Thieves are those people that don't encourage you or inspire you or challenge you or push you or hold you accountable. Those guys on the high jump mat, but those all Americans, those allies, they expect something out of you. They expect you to show up and do what you're supposed to do the extra reps, etc. And that moment right there transformed my life. I was like, hey, am I going to spend time with these allies or spend time with these thieves? And as I mentioned to you, I never went on to the Olympics or the NCAA championships. I did become an all-conference triple jumper, but I was able to earn a partial scholarship because of that time with them, that they made me better. And we've heard the saying, think about the 5 people you spend the most time with. And we do have to think about not just the 5 people we spend the most time with in person, but also right here on these phones, and ask yourself that simple question: do they make me better? That time in those 2 years on the team, it built up a grit in me. It built up a resilience in me. It built up a perseverance in me to get through tough times. You and I both know every day is not going to go our way. So I lean on that moment, that message of allies, but also that the being on that track by myself, knowing it's me against me right now. Let's see what we can do to achieve this PR and building up that grit, that resilience, and perseverance.